But really, when it comes down to being fair and what's unfair, let's really check it out.
Many of us didn't even understand the study. I'm sure if a lot of students knew about it, we'd participate in it.
RTD is a public entity, and transit is a public good.
Fares should not increase. I actually think they should decrease.
So I don't see the service getting better, I just see it getting more expensive.
RTD needs to slow down on raising the bus fares.
If a smart card system deserved the name smart card, it would be able to handle any of these processes without the user having to know ahead of time what their day would entail.
And there's not much point of having accessible transit if it's not also affordable.
I heard natural gas is going down, and I want to know why transportation is going up.
Highly illogical, in the words of our favorite Vulcan, that
behavior is highly illogical.
While the price of fuel is going down, the fares are continuing to go up.
No point in repeating that it's illogical, Spock. I'm quite aware of it.
We are handicapped people. Prices going up and up and up.
You double the rates, you double excess ride.
Like I said, I'm from St. Louis. I grew up in Ferguson. I know unfairness.
Right now, you got the ridership, it's angry.
Everybody in this room, we're RTD job creators.
If it wasn't for us riding your buses, you wouldn't have any job. You won't have any business to run. And a good way to run a business is not take away things that work.
Do not eliminate transfers. I really think that's how people get around.
Because you have a grid system here, you are forcing people to transfer. I would say it's rare that someone could take one bus and go where they need to go.
Stop making the term public transportation an increasingly ironic term.
Whenever I saw your video, whenever I saw everything that came out of your mouth, whenever I read this, I'm gonna read it again. We ask you for your feedback on how we could streamline our fare policies to make riding our system easier. You developed that ridiculous plan.
A 26% increase in fares is ludicrous. It's ridiculous.
Dude, come on, you guys have to come up to reality.
I am also disabled and I use the RTD, and no matter what you charge, I will have to pay it. It takes me 2 buses to get to the grocery store. No choice. That's the way it is. And that's $5.20 it's gonna cost me to buy a $2 gallon of milk.
Keep fares fair.
The $2.25 is perfect right now. But as a veteran, I have to take 3 or 4 buses just to get to the VA. With a fare increase,
it really sucks.
like the young gal said, it's gonna suck.
I believe we want to lift people up. We want to lift up students and people who are doing their best to work.
My college currently doesn't do the College Eco Pass, so I have to pay my way. And actually I can't because I can't afford it.
Bus fares should not be getting in the way of my education, my fellow peers' education, and employment of people who need to get out and go get a job.
I have to cut back on something. And that something will be a doctor's appointment, and that something will be food.
I think when the rents are too high, you should lower them.
Most of my patients come in using public transit. With higher fares, my patients will not be able to get to my doctor's office, may not be able to make it to dialysis, will need to call an ambulance, and then go to an emergency room.
Fares are regressive in their nature. A tax increase of this kind is regressive. It hits the people who can least afford it the very hardest.
If we want to keep our taxes down, if we want to control the cost of our healthcare, we need affordable transit for everyone.
It seems like there's nothing that I can really do here to convince you guys to make different decisions, because these decisions are your own, but that means that it's on you that so many people are suffering.
You isolate communities from accessing public transportation, and you are creating segregation.
I really think it's nothing less than structural violence.
I have seen members incarcerated for failure to pay. A friend lost a job in a private market due to a warrant from an RTD fare offense.
A little while ago, I got a ticket because I couldn't afford your fare. I can't get a driver's license because I could not afford your fare. It's not okay. It's not okay that you're raising fare when I already can't afford to get on your buses in the first place to get to work.
This is the largest fare increase I've ever seen since I've been taking this. Now you're going to take a local regular pass up $25. That's really excessive.
And I have to be afraid to get on the light rail because I have a light rail suspension because I could not afford your fares.
I need to be on the bus to get to my doctor's appointment to get my psych meds. I need to go to get into my housing meetings. I need to go to work.
It was more beneficial for me to use services like Car2Go. And I think that's really scary when, you're competing with a car share service.
I've noticed that it costs just as much not to have a car as it does to have one.
The CEO of RTD earns $300,000.
Increasing fares for the most vulnerable and decreasing fares for those who can afford it. It's really not equitable at all. And you've used equitable like 5 times in your introduction, and this just isn't equitable. It's not equitable.
Can we assume you mean this will be a fair trial?
Yes, absolutely equitable.
This just isn't equitable. It's not equitable. Really not equitable at all.
It's not simple, it's not equitable, and it's not very accessible. You're exasperating poverty, you're exasperating homelessness.
People that have to panhandle to get to where they need to go, just now they have to do it twice as much because you don't have a transfer.
I turned 65 last year, and it's a shame to say, wow, I'm so happy I'm 65. I'm an old lady now, I can get discount fares.
I am 62. The federal government considers me a senior citizen. The transit does not. They want me to be 65. I almost got kicked off the light rail because I thought I was a senior citizen, and he said, no, ma'am, you are not. You'll have to get off at the next stop.
I've also seen countless hours of taxpayers' time and money spent on unnecessary court hearings, incarceration, and custody of our community members for not paying fare. That doesn't make sense.
I'm not sure why the increase is happening since more and more people are moving into Denver.
In Denver, we have this explosive population growth happening, and with that comes increasing congestion, air pollution, traffic. Raising fares does not encourage people to consider taking public transportation.
And that should be a top priority for the RTD, is to increase ridership so that we can address some of our air pollution issues that we have in the city, and we need to reduce the number of cars that are on the road.
Yeah, it's never been the intention of RTD to take all of the cars off the road.
So we really need to increase ridership.
Because it operates under the assumption that all riders have access to a certain amount of disposable income per day. And we know that's not true.
You raise those fares, you lost your part-time middle classers. The middle class lady, she's gonna say, well, kid's not that sick, and it ain't that much more for a taxi. That's who you're gonna lose.
This is done by the suited people that paid more from their suits than some of the people here make a month.
But I think all of us would agree that inflation, which is currently less than 2%, certainly hasn't increased 26% since 2011.
This day pass plan only seems cost effective to me on paper.
You're going to have people getting on the bus, feeding all sorts of dimes and single-dollar bills into the fare box and wasting everybody's time.
People who are low income, people who are transit dependent are your stakeholders in a lot of ways.
I beg you to understand that we are all in this together.
We are your riders. We are your fare payers.
I thought RTD is supposed to work for us and with us, not against us.
So please, work with us, don't work against us. If you work against us, it's going to hurt you.
There are lots and lots of partners all throughout the community that are here standing ready to work with RTD to figure out how those solutions can happen.
I want our tax dollars to supplement a system that prioritizes mobility and community wellness far before its fare structure.
Dallas generates $11 million more a year in advertising, and it hands it directly to its ridership.
There are just too many other cities that are comparable to the size of Denver that are doing so much better than we are.
I grew up in Lincoln, Nebraska, and their cash fare for the transit is $1.75. Seniors are 85 cents. Transfers are free. The handy van, which is basically accessoride, is $3.50. Monthly pass is $17. Low income monthly pass is $8.
I don't think you should raise the monthly pass a higher percentage than you're going to raise other passes and other things.
Stop subsidizing EcoPass corporate customers.
raise that EcoPass to 90% of the regular fare, charge for parking.
The people that go to the park and ride, they can afford to pay to park there.
For goodness sakes, why aren't you charging for parking?
When you actually pay with cash on a bus in New York, you get a paper card that does have a little RAM, so people are not, you can't do anything fraudulent. You're able to put as much money on it as you want. Basically, once you get on the bus or whatever, it actually is a full 24 hours.
Our state is more than equipped to keep fares affordable, if not free, for everyone.
Why don't you raise the price of registering a car? I own a car. I'd gladly pay more in a registration for an automobile, which is a foul thing to need, so that I myself can take the bus more cheaply.
No fare increase, or fares should be income-based.
Where fares are low, ridership is high. What do you think of when you think of London? The tube. Paris, the metro. And you got bankers, lawyers, businessmen, you name it on those. And the fares are low, $20 for a monthly pass. That's why the metro's packed, and there's a stop every 2 blocks. Make it worth people's whiles. The fares go down, ridership goes up. RTD has proven that. Look at the 16th Street shuttle. Tourists, businessmen, bankers. The free shuttle is packed. You want to make more money? Have the buses run till after the bars close, till after 2 a.m., so that those driving the drunks driving SUVs and Mercedes will take your public transport.
Today I'm speaking up for Coloradans, people like me who value the diversity of my neighbors, who are proud of Denver's claim as the cradle of the disability movement, for the people who barricaded the city streets to ensure accessibility on our transit systems, for the people who grew up with the Americans with Disability Act as a standard and not as an exception, for the people I joined with today who simply want to work and to provide for their families without further impoverishing themselves to do so. I'm a proud Colorado native, and I want to be proud of our responsiveness to our citizens. I want Coloradans to be able to access employment, healthcare, and businesses easily. I know that all of this makes Colorado whole.
How many RTD board members are here tonight? How many?
Right now, none. There was one earlier.
Oh, one.
This is an RTD board meeting and there's not one board member. This is a joke.
There are 15 board members. Only one came. What does that tell you?
Seeing as how we are constituents of the board members who aren't here.
The board is not here. It's like Congress is not here for us.
Well, did they come? Did they want to hear what you had to say? No.
And as for your board members, if they really, really care, they should be here now. It does not matter if our requests are going into them. They should be here now to listen to us. This is their job. This is their duty.
Where is Director Bill James? This is his district. Maybe he's out whining and dining the people that he got the $17 million from RTD to build that hotel inside Union Station.
Need to remember that these board of directors are not on fixed incomes.
I'm still not really convinced that most RTD board members have regularly ridden transportation in the city at all.
They're not riding RTD on a daily basis.
We vote them in by district, and they have a responsibility to hear us and to listen to us.
We vote for RTD directors.
The impact I can have for the board of directors is to remember that they were not here tonight and to remember I have a vote.
You stand up for us first, and then we'll stand up for you.